Last class we have seen integration of Jenkins with Maven, and we downloaded the code using Git from GitHub. We have taken a sample project, and then we added the plugins to Jenkins job, that is freestyle job, and it has downloaded to Workspace. Then it has built using Maven, right? And we also added slave to the Jenkins master. We have generated the keys and enabled the passwordless authentication between the Jenkins user and the root user of the slave, and then we added that to the Jenkins using manage Jenkins and add a new node, right? So the options, like there are a lot of options we use. Maybe you don't remember. So you don't have to worry. There are a lot of everything is documented. You can just go through this document to understand how to add a slave. Okay. So everything is clearly given there. Configuring slaves. Okay. So you add a user, log in as Jenkins to master and execute this. Okay. Then go to manage nodes, new node, select as permanent agent, select as options below, and these are the options. Okay.
Hey, Santosh, one quick question about hello?
Yes, tell me.
Some noise was there. Yeah, we generated the keys and we basically copied the keys to the slave, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's exactly the same thing we did in Ansible, right?
Yes.
My nodes master and already have those keys, so they are already the password less authentication is already in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to do that Jenkins thing, right? Again.
We have to do because we have set passwordless authentication for Ansible as root user. But now what we are trying is Jenkins user. So you have to log in as Jenkins user. So keys will be separate for each user. So again, we need to do the same thing for Jenkins user.
Okay. So what I've been trying yesterday, I'm trying to log in as Jenkins user, but it's keep failing. Like if I do like su hyphen Jenkins,
It fails because I don't know if you have observed. So if you do cat etc password, right, it will give the user's information. There, if you
yes.
see, Jenkins user will be there, some home directory, shell, etc. will be there. In the end, yeah, there will be shell. So this will be something like bin, no login.
It's
Right?
a false.
You
Yeah,
need to
bin
log in.
false.
Yeah, no login or false. Then you need to make it bin bash. Then only it will allow.
Yeah, I was thinking how to make those changes on the user.
Right, yeah. Yeah, make this change, I think it will allow, it will work.
How? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. How I can make those changes.
Okay.
I mean, how I can make those changes on the Jenkins, like how I can change the directory, the shell.
Just opening the, as a root, open etc password, change that to v-editor and then,
Oh, okay. Open that file and change
yeah,
that into the bash.
yes.
Okay, okay, I got you. Yeah. So if you want to make any changes to any user, just open that path wd file and make changes, edit the file, and that's it, right?
Right,
Okay.
yes.
Or else we can use the command chsh -s bin bash.
Yeah, that's you can use, yes. Change the user properties.
Okay. Okay.
So this is integration with Git. So how do you add a GitHub given here? What are the options we need to provide, user ID and all, and then we'll see this. So we integrated Jenkins with GitHub, and with Maven, right? So we downloaded the code, and then from GitHub, we are given the URL in Jenkins. It automatically downloaded the workspace. From there, we used Maven install, which is Maven goal, that will actually generated the binaries, and then it has compiled the code. It generated the binaries. The var file, it has done packaging. The jar file or var file is generated based on the pom.xml. So till that part we have seen. So what is the next step? So we have something called Nexus, which is like Artifactory, or which is like a tool or repository store the binaries or artifacts. So this we need to configure in one of the machines. So in reality, there will be Jenkins node, there will be GitHub, and there will be another separate slave, Jenkins slave, right? And then there will be a separate Nexus server. Right? So these all are different machines. Right? So Jenkins is a continuous integration server. GitHub is a source of source code, repository of source code. Jenkins slave is basically to execute the jobs. Okay. Then Nexus server is to store the artifacts. Right? So this step, how to install the Nexus. So we can take another machine and then start installing Nexus. So Nexus is basically it's available as a zip file. Directly we can download and unzip on the node and then start the binary. Right? Start the there is something called .nexus start that will start the Nexus service on the machine. Right? So this Nexus by default listens on port 8081, and the default username and the password is
But Santosh, the binaries can also be saved at GitHub also, right?
yeah, it can be saved on GitHub as well, but the general convention is we have to store it on a Nexus server or Artifactory. There are two tools, Nexus or Artifactory.
Okay. You mentioned binaries and artifacts, something, right? Artifact, binaries and
Artifacts. So build or artifact, both are same. Builds or artifacts. These are nothing but binaries.
okay.
The tools are
Artifacts is a format, or like I understand what is artifacts?
artifact is just another name for build. Binaries.
Okay.
All are
Okay.
same.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
we have tools like Nexus and Artifactory. Anything we can use store the binaries. So there is an advantage actually. See, we can also store on GitHub. We can also store on NFS server. Right. You have NFS server. Everything we dump on NFS server. But if we use Nexus or Artifactory, there are a lot of advantages. Right. We'll see why do we need to use Nexus. Okay. So I'll take one of the machine. Are you able to follow up Jenkins, Git, GitHub, Maven, and the integration part and all this, or am I going fast? Maybe the traversing through the menus, the Jenkins this thing. Maybe you may not get all the options at the first time only, but if you follow the documentation, everything is available there. If you want to practice, just go through this document, and there are options clearly mentioned what needs to be done, how to add a slave, how to add a user, how to generate the keys, and all the stuff is there. In the same way, Nexus, how to install Nexus and all the stuff is also there. So if you want the steps, they are given properly in the document. Okay. So now let us try to configure Nexus. So I'll take a node. So let us use the same node. This is my server, right? So let me use this slave. On the slave only, I configure the Artifactory. Okay.
Hey Santosh, do you know Salt? Salt is another DevOps tool, or what is it? You know Salt?
Yeah, it's like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, SaltStack, all are same configuration management tools.
Okay.
Okay. So this is my agent. So let us try to configure Nexus on this machine. Nexus download. Nexus is developed by Sonatype. Nexus repository. It has two versions, .2, .3. So this we can download bundle.zip or bundle.tar.z. So let us I'll download this bundle.tar.z. Okay, so I got Nexus. So let us transfer this to the agent. How do I transfer this to the agent? This is in
SCP.
laptop. Okay, SCP. And next,
The file name, username at agent.
so let me get the IP. Okay, then
Just enter.
the directory, right?
No, yeah, you can. Otherwise, it will.
Okay, it downloaded. It has uploaded to the server. So we downloaded the Nexus to the laptop. From laptop, we use recipe command to copy it to the Linux server. So now I have Nexus bundle available in the Linux server. So I'll go to Linux server and I copy it to slash, right? And in the slash, I have Nexus server. So I'll just I'll copy this to, so there are steps given in this document. I think we can follow that. So we need to, how to install Nexus. Go to cd user local. Okay, we can also directly download using wget using this link. But I already downloaded to laptop and uploaded to server. So that's fine. So let me go to user local and I need to copy the server, the bundle from root to here. So I have the bundle available. Then I'll just set tar-z-xvf nexus. So this will extract the nexus to the local directory. It will unzip and it will untar, right? Okay. And let me just do, let's have an LRT. So this is created Nexus 2.14.5. Okay. Next, we'll move this to, what is the next step? Okay, we need to create a soft link for this. So first we downloaded the Nexus.2.14 bundle. Then I just did extracted and it created a directory called Nexus something. Then we have to create a soft link. It's like a kind of shortcut, desktop shortcut. It will create another directory with the same contents, right? So let me go to the Nexus, and if you see, there are a lot of directories, and every time if you are trying to install a tool, so there will be binaries available in bin directory, right? If you go to bin, we see this Nexus. This is the binary which we need to execute to start the Nexus. So /nexus start will start the Nexus. Okay, so you're not supposed to run as root. Okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and run as a root. So it says if you want to run as root, export this variable to run as root. Starting Nexus, it started. So Nexus is started. So let me see if it is really started. If I just do ps-ef grep for Nexus, I should see the process running.
Santosh, if it is not a root, what user are you supposed to use?
I think it asks to run as a Nexus user. Let me see if user is created. Or any other non-root user.
Okay.
Okay, I think we need to create a user, then run it as a root. But that's fine. I can run it as a root. Okay, so Nexus is running. So what is the port? I said by default it runs on 8081, right? So let me try to access Nexus using this IP. So I'll go here and colon 8081. Cannot be reached. Is it 8081 or something else? Okay, I need to open like this 8081/Nexus. 8081/Nexus. Okay, so we downloaded the Nexus bundle, we extracted, we went to Nexus directory and just say Nexus start. It has started the Nexus process. So 8081 is the port on which Nexus by default listens on. We can access Nexus using the IP address colon 8081/Nexus. So by default, the password is admin123. Okay, so let me try to log in. Admin123. So I have Nexus available. Is this clear? What are we doing so far?
Yes.
I'll tell you why Nexus is needed. Why can't we use some other this thing? But there are some advantages we get with Nexus. We can store with a timestamp. We can have a clear directory structure. For anybody, I can just give a link and ask them to download the binaries, right? Let us say in your organization, there are developers and they developed the code and they have pushed it to the, let us say, staging area or testing area, right? So it is failing. Now we need to roll back to the previous build. So how do we roll back? Where do we get the binaries? So using Nexus, so there is an option to so it basically stores all the binaries in a proper format, right? So I can just ask anybody to go ahead and download this build and deploy it on your node so that the code is not broken, right? The latest build is broken, then you can go back to the previous build, right? We'll try that.
This is OSS. What is what is OSS?
This is I don't know what is OSS. Let me see.
Okay, no worries.
I think some organization.
One more thing, yes, Santosh, it would create the repository on the local, on the agent, right? On the agent. Let's say, how about space? Like, we're going to start using space in the root, whatever the root.
Yes. So it actually stores on the root file system. So even before I start deploying Nexus, I need to have proper space. So basically, let us say we are trying to configure Nexus on the machine. So I should have a machine with proper space, some in terms of TBs, because we're going to dump all the binaries on this machine.
Okay. So basically, we can mount share and then use that share as a repository. Is it possible?
I think it's possible, yes.
Okay. What is like best practice? Like you just
No, the best practice is like, yeah, so when you start only, we get a machine with proper storage. And if you're running out of the space, what do? We add external disk from SAN or something. Then we increase the file system, root file system.
Okay. I think maybe I have to look like how to create new directory and allocate the space on that new directory. Let's say if you have on the Windows, you want to add new drive E for 200 gig. So you just add new drive, right? So same way we can do on Linux. When you get a chance to show us how.
I mean, little more procedure is there on Linux. First, we need to add the disk. We need to configure file system on it. So there are commands like what is that?
I'll Google it later. Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah, there is a command called format.
So you create the directory, right? Let's say directory slash.
This is a file system, right? So let us say this is my slash file system. So if I want to increase that slash to, let us say 100 TB, you added a disk, right? So what is the command to make the partitions? There is a command to get the partitions. So
fdisk and
part probe is a command to detect. It's like it will probe all the devices, and if any device is added, it will check part probe. Then fdisk is the utility, and then let us say a new disk is added to dev some SDA or SDB, and then we go ahead and say dev SDA, then it will give a lot of options, right? So using this, we can create a partition on it. For the first time, we have to create a partition. Right? Once we create the partition, then we need to create a, it's logical volume group, then file system, we can create and all the stuff. Then once we created it, we can mount it, and then we can extend the file system, the root file system to the new device. Then the space increase. It's not directly that straightforward as Linux, but some little this thing needs to be done. Okay. So we created the repository and then we logged in using admin123. Now, what is the next step? We need to configure this repository so that from Jenkins, all the binaries are directly stored on this server, right? So there is something called repositories. These are some of the default repositories. Okay, so what we want is either releases or snapshots, right? So what do we store in releases? What do we store in snapshots?
Sorry, what was the question?
What binaries we store in snapshots? What binaries we store in releases? What is the difference? Yeah. So I was asking, what is the difference between release and a snapshot? Okay.
Snapshot is old binaries, the backup.
We never discussed that.
Yeah, I think we didn't discuss. We discussed the other way, but not exactly. Let me tell you. Snapshot is something like which we create the binaries using development branch, right? That is called snapshot. And release is something which we create from master branch or production branch, right? So that is called release. So generally, the binaries which are created from a master branch are called release binaries, and from a develop branch, if we create those, they are called snapshots, right? So snapshot in the sense it will start like this. I mean the general syntax. So application dot the version dot the timestamp, something like 2017, 16, 14, 630 seconds. Then snapshot .zip or .var or .jar. So it will be like this. This is the binary or artifact of application XYZ, right? So if it is a release, it will be something like XYZ 1.0.0.zip. This is the release version. This is the snapshot version. Okay. That's the difference. So that's actually the Maven convention. Maven follows this. If it is a release, it is, if it is a master branch, it is called release. If it is a develop branch, it is, if it is snapshot. So how often we go for building the develop branch? How often we go for the building master branch, right? So typically in organization you have, we explained, right? So there are master branch, there is a master branch, there is a develop branch, and there are feature branches. So developer will try to create the feature branches, check in the code, goes for a pull request. Once approved, he pushes that to the merges with the develop branch. So in a sprint, let us say we have 3-week sprint, right? In Agile, typically we have something called sprints. So the sprint is nothing but in 3 weeks we need to develop a software, properly test it, and then we need to deliver it to the customer, right? So even if it is internal, something like we need to give a demo to a product owner showing that in this sprint we have developed this thing, right? So every sprint generally there will be a develop branch. So developers will work on the feature branch and they merge, and at the end of the sprint they show it to the product owner saying that this is what we have developed. So that is generally a snapshot. And release is something like at the end of the project. Let us say we work for 3 months or 6 months. 6 months deliverables we have. Now it is time to release the final version, right? So that is called release, right? Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So let us go to this thing and create a snapshot. So there is something called repository. We need to create a repository, and so now we can create any repository. Let us say I just give some name, repository name, repository ID, etc. And we are using Maven 2. So Maven is actually deploying the artifacts to Nexus. So that's why we need to select the Maven, and we can select repository policy as either release or snapshot, and this and all we can leave it. So by default it will store in the storage location, or we can specify where to store. Okay, so publish URL will see what are these things. Okay, so I'll just save, but you need to remember the name. What we have created is repos. There is a directory created repos, right? So now I want to store my binaries in such a way that I want to also include my build number, Jenkins build number, in the Nexus server, right? So let us see how to do that. So I have a repository created. Now let me go to my Jenkins GitHub Maven. So instead of creating a new project, I'll edit this project only to store the binaries. So Jenkins GitHub Maven, I'll say Nexus. Then GitHub is there, credentials are there. Credentials are not required because this is open to all. This is a sample project, Game of Life. And Maven install is there. So here, let us see, there is a step. So first we need to install 2 plugins. One is Nexus. For anything, let us say I want to do something other than the default behavior, we need to install that plugin in Jenkins. So manage Jenkins, manage plugins. Then where are the plugins available to install? Which tab?
Available.
Yes, so available. So available, and then let me search for Nexus. So if you see, there is this thing called Nexus Artifact Uploader. This is the plugin which we need to use to store the binaries on Nexus. Install without restart. Other than that, I also need to install something called, I want to use timestamp as a variable. Because I want to create a directory with timestamp, and then I want to use it inside the job. Okay, so I'll use something called timestamp. Build timestamp plugin. There is also something else for timestamp. Zen timestamp plugin. Okay, so I just installed 3 plugins: Artifact Uploader, Timestamp plugin, Build Timestamp, Zen Timestamp. Okay, so I'll go here, I'll go to the job, and I'll go to configure, then Jenkins, GitHub, Maven, and then Nexus. Okay, then this and all are same. Only thing is I need to select something called, see here, before this option was not there. Change the date pattern of the build timestamp variable. So this we got from build timestamp plugin. Okay, once I install that, this option will appear here. So here I need to specify the date and the time pattern. How do you want to use this build timestamp variable inside my job? So what I'll do is I'll say year, month, date, second, minute, second. Right? So this is how I want to store my timestamp. Okay.
Sometimes don't we need hour?
Oh, sorry, hour is also missing. Yeah. Okay. This way we save the timestamp. So if I declare like this, I can use this variable inside my job anywhere, and that will default replace, sorry, I think it will replace with something like year 2017, month, date, hour, etc., etc. It will replace, right? So I can directly use build underscore timestamp variable. So if I use variable inside anywhere, it will replace with the something like this: 2007. What is the current month? 9th, date 16th, hour, let us say 8 o'clock, 08, and minute, and let us say second, something like that. It will replace. Okay, so there are a lot of variables inside Jenkins job which we can use: build ID or build number. What is this? This is actually the build number of the job. Let's start from 1, right? So here we have builds on the left hand side, build history. So that build ID we can get inside the job using this parameter. So there are a lot of other things like Jenkins URL, Jenkins home. These are default Jenkins provided variables which we can use inside the job. It will provide the URL of the Jenkins. Okay. So let me go to the job and then use the plugin called Nexus Artifact Uploader. Nexus Artifact Uploader, right? So here there are again a lot of options, but don't worry, everything is documented. Okay, so here we need to give the Nexus URL. What is the Nexus URL? This is my Nexus URL. Where is it? This one. Sorry, this one. So this one I need to copy and I can put inside my job. Till Nexus, okay, and then we shouldn't keep this HTTP, just URL. If I keep also, I think it will tell it should not start with HTTP or HTTPS. So remove this. Okay, this is Nexus URL, and credentials we need to add. What are the credentials we need to add? Username with password. Username is admin. Password is admin123. Default Nexus credentials. So description I'll say Nexus credentials. Okay. So I'll select that Nexus credentials. Then group ID. This group ID you can give anything. So whatever we give, that directory structure will be created. Something like dev and all, right? So this is a development project. So I give dev version. Version is build underscore ID or build underscore number. What is this? This is like when it creates repository on the repository, the Nexus, it will create in a proper directory structure. So first releases under that dev, under that build ID 1 or 2 or 3, under that timestamp, under that it will push the var or jar file, zip file, right? What is the repository we have created? Repos. The same thing we need to give here. Whatever we created in Nexus, right? What else? Artifact.
For the build, you mentioned $build something, right?
Yeah.
It's a variable already defined somewhere? Or?
Yeah, this is default defined by Jenkins. Build ID,
Okay.
build URL, Jenkins URL, Jenkins home. So by default, if we use it, it picks up. But
Okay.
build timestamp is not a default variable. To use build timestamp, we need to download the plugin and install it. That's what we did for build timestamp, right? Okay, so artifact ID is this thing, build underscore timestamp. So I'll use this build underscore timestamp and type, let us say var file. Classifier, I can leave it file. So this is important, like this, the location of the file on the Jenkins. So by default, source code will be downloaded to Jenkins workspace, and using Maven, it creates the var file. The var file will be available on the Jenkins workspace initially. That var file will be copied to Nexus repository. So here we need to give the location of the var file from the workspace, right? So it will create like this. We have seen when I searched for var file, it has given this location. What is that? Game of life. Web target game of life.var. Right? This is the location. This location is with respect to the workspace. Here Jenkins store the var file. So we are asking to get this file, copy to Artifactory or Nexus using this format, right? So what all we have done? First we have created install Nexus. We started it. We logged into it. Then we created a snapshot called repos. Then that repos I have given here, but I want to have a directory structure while copying the artifact or binary because it is easy to recognize, right? So I said group name as dev, version as build ID, repository as repos, and I want to store the binaries inside a directory with timestamp. So that's why I'm using a variable called build underscore timestamp. This is not the Jenkins default one. For using this, I have installed a plugin called build timestamp. Type is var file I want to store on repository. File is the location of the file. Okay. Then I'll just save this and let us see if this works. So I'll just build. So this is the build ID. Number 1 is the build number or build ID. So if I say echo $build ID, it gives 1 or 2 by default. Okay. So it will go here. It will create all those directories Okay, then it will populate under repos. There will be dev created. Under dev there will be build number 1 or 2 or 3. Under that it will create a timestamp. Under that it will push the var file, right? Okay, so let us go to the Jenkins and see what is happening. So it is compiling using Maven. It is running the tests because we have said Maven install, which is the last goal. So all the previous goals will be executed. So this complete integration project, once you do it, it will be easy for you to either explain in an interview or understand yourself, right? You created a Jenkins on one server, you created Jenkins slave on another server, and you created Nexus on another server, right? So there is a problem. Game of life dot where is file doesn't exist. Okay, fine. So what is the file that is existing on the server, right? So let me go to the agent, and here where is the directory created, job name. I mean, by default, where does Jenkins downloads the source code?
/src.
See, Jenkins server is there, Jenkins slave is there, and I used GitHub hook. I created a job and used GitHub, and I used Maven, and I used Nexus. Now, what is the first step happens when a job is executed? It downloads the code from GitHub. So what is the location? Path in which source code is downloaded to Jenkins slave. So tell me the absolute path. See, these small steps are important if you want to debug. Something is going wrong and you need to see whether the file is downloaded actually. So what is the problem in the job? Why it is not getting executed? Why is it failing? So we should have an understanding what is happening inside, right? So we have created a job, we are running it, and there are a lot of plugins in that job, and it is failing, saying that file doesn't exist. So by default, where is the job created? Where is the logs created in Jenkins? What is the location where it downloads the source code? What is the location it creates a binary? Anyone?
You mean like ETC have all the configuration files, so there is another directory where all the binaries stored. You're asking that directory?
No. So this is Jenkins slave, right? So Jenkins stores binaries in one specific directory. Let us say I created a new job called XYZ. So that job's information will be stored somewhere in Jenkins slave, right? Where is the path of the directory? What is the path of the directory? So we create directory. We create a job.
Like
What is it?
like
Workspace, right? So home directory of Jenkins, var lib Jenkins. Under that workspace, under that the job name, sample job. Under that it will create, right? This I think we have discussed. If you go to var, sorry, here it's home. What is the home directory of Jenkins? Home Jenkins, right? You can see here, right? So home Jenkins workspace. Under that all the jobs are listed, right? So this we have seen yesterday. Jenkins GitHub Maven Nexus. Under that, this is where the source code is downloaded. If you have a standalone Jenkins master, it downloads to var lib Jenkins workspace. If you have a slave, the default directory of the Jenkins home directory. Home Jenkins is the default directory. Under that, it will create a directory called workspace. Under that, it will create a directory with the job's name. This is my job name, Jenkins _ GitHub _ Maven _ Nexus. Then there is target. So here I need to give the path of the binary var file, right? So let me search find.name *var. So this is the path I need to specify in the job, right? So let me see if I have specified properly. Did you get where are the source code stored? Is this clear? No? So the path which I entered and the actual path, is it same or something different? Okay, game for life. It should be game of life. That's why it is failed. Fine. Let me execute this and then I'll explain from the beginning. Okay, this job will run. So what is happening here is when we create a job, that job will have some data, right? So that has to be stored on the Jenkins. So where are the jobs getting executed? Will the job executed on the master or will the job executed on the slave? Anyone? Yeah, on the slave, right? So you have master, you have slave. Master is something like a manager who delegates the task. Slave is like a employee who does the work, right? So I say I executed a job. So it actually comes to slave. And let us say the job name is, right now we have created a job. We have created a job like git _ Maven _ Nexus or something. We created a job, right? So what did we do? What are we doing in the job? We are downloading the source code to download source code from GitHub. This is what we are instructing Jenkins to do and build it using Maven. Store it on Nexus. This is what we are doing in the job, right? So download the source code from GitHub, build it using Maven, store it on Nexus. So when I say download from GitHub, so it has to store somewhere on Jenkins, right? So where is it storing on Jenkins? So actually it stores on home directory of Jenkins. So in this case, what is the home directory? Home Jenkins. Then I said it creates a directory called workspace. Actually, all the jobs are stored here. Under workspace, it will create a directory with the same name, whatever we give for the job. So this is the job name I have given. So it will create a new directory here. Under that, it downloads the source code. So here, what is the source code? Hello World program, or in this case, I'm using a sample project, which is Game of Life. Right? So it has so many directories. These all are source code, some libraries, some Java related files and all stored, right? So then it downloads my, using Maven, code is downloaded from GitHub. Using Maven, it builds it and builds and stores the binaries in the same directory here, but little inside something like target, Game of Life, web. Then under that, actually that xyz.var will be stored. This path I need to give in the Nexus, so that Nexus goes and picks up this file and stores it on the Nexus server. Is this clear?
Santosh, target Game of Life web xyz.var. This is the path in the Maven server?
No, this is on the Jenkins server again. So everything is happening in Jenkins. So there is nothing like the Maven server separately. because Maven is installed on the slave, right? We installed Git, we installed Maven on the slave as well, right? So it gets executed on the slave. Is it clear? Okay, let us see.
Is job
Job is running. Something is happening. It failed again. Okay, it actually uploaded. Could not transfer artifact from to repos. Okay, so there is some problem with the transfer. Let us see if it actually transferred the file. Okay, so it failed. That's why I'm not able to execute. So actually it stores this way. It creates a directory, and in the directory it will upload the URL, Nexus, repositories, repos, dev. It creates a directory. This is also fine. This is the build number 3, and this is the timestamp -3.var. But somehow it did not store it. Failed to deploy artifacts, could not transfer artifact from repos. Bad request, uploading file is failed. Return code is 400. Okay, so what is wrong? Let us go back to the job and see. Yeah, you're asking some question, yes?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we have given GitHub repository to download it to Jenkins. Source code will be downloaded. Then here we have given Maven install. So Maven will be executed from the slave. So it will convert all the source code to binaries. Then that binary we are asking Nexus to copy it to the Nexus server, right? So here I have given build timestamp, var, repos, everything is correct, right? Repositories, repos, dev. Dev itself is not created. So if it works, it will create a directory structure like this. Okay. So let us see what is the problem. I think this is a problem. This is also fine. 1.0 snapshot is what we have given. Okay, let me see here. Var file, yes, var file, game of life, web target, game of life.var. Anything I missed in the this thing? Nexus, HTTP, server name, admin 123, are the credentials correct? Dev, build ID, game of life, artifact. Correct. Actually, it should store something like this: game of life, web, dev, and the directory name and the build name, and this is actually the binary which will be copied. Let us see if permission issue or something. Build ID is fine. Anything wrong with the credentials? Okay, let me see if credentials are proper. I'll just try to give again admin 123 credentials to connect to Nexus. Just checking if something is wrong with the password or something. Then credentials to connect Nexus, admin 123 8081 Nexus. This is what we have given, right? 8081 Nexus. IP is correct, 137, 137. Let me just create another repository and releases. Post one, save. Do you see some syntax issues or something here? It's all fine, right? Artifact, repos one, dev, build ID, etc. Where did it go wrong? Let us see. Build is success. It would have generated the value.
Yeah, I think maybe try to uncheck that build timestamp. I don't know if that is causing the issue. The build timestamp option.
If we don't use build timestamp, we'll not get this thing, this version. So we wanted to create directory with this timestamp, right? Let us see this time. Okay, it is successful now. Let us see what is it happening. So it's uploaded. Now if you see, it is uploaded to this directory. Let me go to this path. I created a new repository, repos one. If you see, it created a directory dev. Under that, it created a 2017, the name, timestamp, etc. Right? And then it created bill number. Then it created all the binaries here. So this is the binary. If I click on this, I can directly save the binary to my computer. Okay, so I can give this link to anybody can access. Let us say now I will execute this job again and see how it stores. Bill now. So now there should be another directory created under dev with the timestamp, right? So under dev, it will create another directory with the timestamp, and under that it will create with the bill number. Then it will create it will copy the timestamp. Right, the fifth job is getting executed. If it is blue, it indicates that it's success. If it is red, it indicates that it's failure. So let us see if this job will be successful. Okay, it is successful. So let me just refresh the page. See, there is a new directory created. Okay, then if you go inside that, inside this, again there is the var file which is generated. So like this, with every build, there will be new directory created, and under that it will push all the binaries. So so this provision is not available in NFS server or in any other this thing, right? So anybody can get this link and download this thing. And if a build is failing, I can ask a test team to go and get this binary and start your resume your testing, right? So this option Nexus allows. We can store based on the timestamp, based on the build number, and we can put all the binaries inside the directory. Is this clear?
Yes, Santosh. So basically, Nexus is just saving the file, right, and in the repository. Not making anything else, just saving the file from the GitHub, right?
Yes, it saves the binary from Jenkins and in a directory structure. That's all. It does nothing.
Okay.
But if you see, it is saving from Maven. I did not write my own script or anything. It's all, everything is available by default. I just created a job. I just added a plugin. That's all.
Yeah, that is still confusing. Like, what is the role of Maven here? Like, we have something Game of Life repository on the GitHub, right? That as a project.
Right.
That GitHub Game of Life project is already saved in binaries on the GitHub or no?
No, it's only the source code. If you see on the GitHub, it's
format.
Let me go. Let's see. See, Game of Life is available.
Yeah.
But there is no binaries. It's all source code. This we want to build it. See, if you see, there is no target directory, right?
Okay, yeah, it's just the source code. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a source code. Something like this, some binaries, some configuration files. Okay, some jar files, libraries, classes and all. But when we use Maven, it will build a binary out of this.
Okay.
Okay. Is this clear?
So yeah, Maven basically, I know, you explained Maven will use that Game of Life and convert into the binary, right?
Right.
So, and we are saving the binary in using Nexus, right?
Right.
So why we need to give the GitHub if it's already converted into the binaries by the Maven?
So Maven converts the source code to binary, but where is the source code available? Source code has to be downloaded from GitHub.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So without source code, we cannot build it, right? We should have something to build. So that build we are getting from Game of Life. I mean, the question is something like, why are we downloading every time? It's already available.
Yes.
So because see, here, this is a static repository. Nobody's working on it. Nobody's uploading this. But in reality, when the CI will be kicked off, when continuous integration will be kicked off, only when there is a change. Let us say I'm a I'm a developer, and this is my repository. I added a new feature. What I do, I update this. I check in my source code here. If there is a change, then only Jenkins polls detects it, then it builds it. Actually, I did not add a step here in Jenkins. So there is a step called poll the repository. So every minute we can poll, and if there is any change, it will create a new job.
Okay, so basically it's so to sync any changes, we have to give the GitHub repository, right? Where to save it. If we don't have to sync any changes, since the Maven already convert into the binary, we can just save those binaries onto the Nexus, right?
Right. So it's always I mean, in reality, in production or in organization, we poll the SCM, source code management. We poll schedule. How do you want to poll? This is the cron tab syntax. You want to poll every minute, every 1 hour, every 5 hours, or you want to poll every Wednesday 10 o'clock. So this poll we can do. So what happens is, if I poll every minute, this Jenkins will check for the changes in the GitHub every minute. And if some developer checks in, immediately it will start a build and it will create the binaries and it will push it to Artifactory. If there is no change, it will not do anything. In the same way, let us say there are too many commits, too many check-ins happening every day, and I don't want to load my Jenkins too much. So what I do is every day at one time at 5 o'clock in the evening, I schedule a build. So that also works. Or every Wednesday I schedule. So based on the requirement, we can schedule. If I give stars, 5 stars, it indicates that the build will happen every day. Sorry, every minute.
Okay. Okay, now I got you. Okay, so basically GitHub, where we basically save the source code, and Maven
Right.
is basically, Maven is the main tool to convert the source code into the binaries.
Right.
And Nexus is basically integrating and saving it on a repository, right?
Right. So that's the flow.
Okay, okay, okay.
So ideally this gets kicked off if some developer changes something on the GitHub.
Yeah, okay, now I got you. So anybody make the changes on the GitHub, it will sync first to the Maven and then sync with the Nexus, right?
Right, right. So that flow happens every time when someone checks in something. So there will be a directory created here with the timestamp and it will push the build to here if it is successful.
Yeah, but I'm understanding, like, let's say a source code has been modified by somebody, right? Is the push to the binaries, like converted to the binaries, is it automatic? Any changes was going to be there, going to be sync into the Maven right away?
If there is any change,
let's say if I make changes now on the GitHub, right? Make some changes. So so the Jenkins will detect the change and
right.
Start pushing the code to the Maven, right? Automatically.
Jenkins will download, a job will be triggered. If there is any change, a job will be started, and then job will download the source code to workspace directory in Jenkins slave, right?
Okay.
So that from that workspace, since source code is already available in the workspace, Maven will execute mvn install. Mvn install, what it will do, see, ideally this happens internally. What happens? So this is my agent in slave. I'm inside this directory. So here is the source code, right? So this source code will get overwritten. If I run the job again, if you see the timestamp, this will be overwritten with the new source code. And in this new source code, so I have all the source code. What it will do, mvn install, it will execute, right? Since there is pom.xml already present in this directory, Maven will convert this to a binary. It will create a new directory called Game of Life Web and Target, and it will create the binaries out of the source code. And what Nexus will do, this created binary will be copied to Nexus server.
Yeah, that's what I understand. But what I'm trying to understand, how it how it detect the change. So if the change is happening on the source code, how it detect and how, like, is it like automated process or is it?
Yeah, it's all taken care by Jenkins internally because we have given what is that?
Yeah, what was the option in Jenkins that do automate? Like, I know Jenkins will see if any changes on the source code, it detect it and start converting into the binaries. But like, how?
Because here we have given the repository URL and we have asked Jenkins to poll it. For the first step what we have given is this thing, repository URL. So this is the .git directory which Jenkins polls. So using this, if there is any change, it will detect. So that is taken care internally. How it does using Java code, we have given two options. One is this is your repository and this is your polling schedule. So go ahead and poll every minute. So it will poll every minute.
So we have to check that poll thing, and otherwise it won't detect. Otherwise it won't.
Otherwise it will not detect. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. At that point, I'm trying to understand. Like, now, okay. So we have to do that poll thing. Just do, let's say, depending upon the requirement, let's poll every 2 days or every 1 hour. And once it's ported, it will automate and build the binaries using the Maven. Maven will build the binaries and then this will detect the Maven. But how about the saving it to the Nexus? Which option we gave in Nexus to detect anything by the Maven? You know what I mean?
So immediately, I mean, Maven will not detect anything. Only it is Jenkins detects it and Jenkins starts the job. So once the job is started, what happens? All these steps will be executed sequentially. What are they? Converting the source code to binary. Then what is the next step? Using Nexus. So who is calling Nexus? Jenkins job is calling Nexus using this plugin, right? So as soon as a job is started, source code is downloaded, Maven is triggered, then Nexus is triggered to store the binaries on the Nexus repository, right?
Okay. Now I got you. Okay, and I think now I understand the flow. Yeah.
Yeah, only polling is done by Jenkins and immediately job is started. So job has a lot of steps, let us say 10 steps. So each step will be executed sequentially. So GitHub, download, Maven, convert, Nexus, store it. So that happens in the sequence.
Okay, and if you don't want to make any changes, let's say if anybody make changes by do any mistake by mistake, change the code, we don't want to we don't want to use those changes. I mean, we don't want to integrate those changes. Is there a fallback like the backup? Can we do the backup like something has happened to the?
No, it's like say if a developers are working on the GitHub, we expect them to practice, implement the best practices, follow the best practices in the sense they know like there might be some mistakes wherein they check in some syntax errors and all, but the general practice is before checking in they have to check into feature branch, test it locally. If it is working, then only check into the development branch or into the GitHub, right? And by mistake, if something happens also, there is no direct way of rolling back. But what we can do is we can have another job wherein we can specify the build number, and that will go ahead and do the rollback, something like installing the previous version, right? Let us say we can give something like this is the repository which I want to go back, right? So then we can give this build number in the Jenkins and that will go back to the previous version, right? So as of now, directly there is nothing like a rollback.
Since the versions are available, we basically use the other version, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you want something like the customized behavior, again, we need to write some scripts that does the rollback. If something is failing, detect it and then roll back to the previous version. Jenkins as such, it will not do anything on its own. It is the scripts which we write, it is the plugins which we implement, include that does the job. Okay.
Okay, good.
We'll continue or we'll stop here.